moving forward, Coco's around 15, 16, and you had a stint of sobriety, and you and Coco started therapy together. What was revealed to you during these therapy sessions?
Well, one thing that was revealed, he was very angry that he was not with me. And another thing that was revealed is that he had told me that Ernest really did mess with him when he was a little boy. And he just couldn't tell nobody, but he was upset because that was my brother that I had trusted. That was the church man, that I really believed, but it was a lot of stuff that came out of those sessions. And then eventually he needed his own therapy session. So, but he had, the hurt because I was a drunk. I mean, I couldn't stay sober. So it really bothered him emotionally that his mom was alcoholic.
Do you think that these therapy sessions were positive for you and him?
Well, yes, they were positive. It's amazing. Yes, they were positive. Because I had every good intention of doing what was right, and I did for a while. I did. So it was good. It was good work for the both of us. Because it was like a fresh start for the both of us.
So then Coco got a little older and was asked to leave Miss Luella Taylor's home, his foster mother's home, because he was caught smoking cigarettes.
Luella Taylor was a diabetic woman, and she was diabetic, and like it was just like being a church woman, and you don't smoke, you don't do none of that, you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't use profanity, and Coco. She smelled the smoke and was nobody there because her son was way grown and gone. But yeah, so it was him smoking. So he had to leave, either give up the cigarettes or leave. And so he chose to leave because, like any young person, myself, which I'm not saying it was right, but even me when I started smoking, it was just something to do. So he had to leave that healthy environment to go back to his mother's family of origin. To go to his mother's family of origin because he had never lived with nobody other than me
Mm-hmm.
until this incident happened. And
So,
also, I was in treatment at the time, so I didn't have no place for him.
okay. So then Coco went to live with his uncle Captain.
Captain.
Was this a good situation for Coco?
Well, no, it wasn't because he was very rigid and he was a mean person, and then he was also controlling. And I guess one time he caught Coco smoking pot from the Zoe's house, the other cousin, which she was mentioned earlier about the men in my life because I lived with her when my baby was a baby. But they given my son pot at 15 years old, 14 or 15, in that area, 16, something like that. And so Captain got a wind of it and he knew what was going on, and he was grounded a whole entire summer. And when Captain grounded, that means he could not go outside other than get empty the trash or get the clothes off the line or help him bring the groceries in the house. And so to me that was very uncalled for, and it was not necessary because of the people next door smoking pot. So that just did something psychological to my son. It really did. It just was not right. Being a teenager, got to sit in the house all damn day.
Mm-hmm. I see it as being quarantined for a summer. It's a long time.
For a kid, yes, it was. And being athletic and just like being outside, a boy, how you going to tell a boy to stay in the house a whole darn summer?
Mm-hmm.
It was just mean. It was evil.
Well, then 2.5 years later, from the time Coco lived with his uncle, you won both your children back from CPS. You moved to Lakewood, Colorado, and Coco was doing well in high school. He even held a 4.0 GPA. He had dreams. What were Coco's dreams for his future?
Well, for starters, to graduate school and then to go to MIT. And then he wanted to study to become an engineer, and he also wanted to work with computers. So my son was a very bright, gifted young man. So, he had goals and dreams. And then it just started with one of the goals and the dreams was that his mom was sober and we were, as a family, back together again, far away from Denver. We were way out in Lakewood. So it was pretty good at the beginning. So things worked well at the beginning.
And then you had a relapse soon after your move to Lakewood, Colorado. What happened, and what do you remember about what Coco said to you right before your relapse?
I was getting ready to go downstairs because family was coming, these same sick people, and he came upstairs and he saw beer, and he had asked me what I was doing with that beer, and he told me I didn't need that beer, you know, and I told him he needed to get out of my face because I did need that beer, and I was going to drink that beer, and the rest is history. So I was off to the races. So the one beer led to more than the beer. It led to crack, smoking dope again, and just a full-blown relapse. I just forgot about everything. It's just selfish and just... Because I needed it. I didn't know how to be a family sober because that treatment center, I was safe and protected. Outside the treatment center, I know barriers. I just was free. And so the only thing I know how to do free was to have other people around me. In order to have other people around me, I have a darn party. Knowing I ain't had no business doing it, but I needed that for me because that's what alcoholics do.
Coco graduated from high school, and you wanted to throw a party for him. How did Coco react to this?
Well, he didn't show up. He did not show up for the party because he already knew it was going to be drinking and drugging. And my son did not drink or drug, okay? And it was, to him, it was just embarrassing and it was a letdown. But to me, I thought, this is what we do. We're going to celebrate his accomplishments. But he really let me down when he didn't show up. And then who blames him? Hell, I was drunk.
We can say that your drug and alcohol use lasted from the time Coco was born until the fatal day Coco left this earth on November 16th, 1996. Rosalyn, how did Coco die?
Coco died playing with a gun, playing a game in the basement of the house that we were living in Lakewood. Him and his buddies, and I believe it was Russian roulette. And you know what's making so sad? I didn't even hear the gun, and I was sober that night. I didn't hear a gun. I didn't hear anything, and the police just knocking at the door. And I went and opened the door, and they said they had got a call from a girl. A young lady heard a gunshot because her and Coco was on the phone together. And we'd all this black family out there in that in those townhomes. So I knew, and I told him, I described him. If he's African American and he got on khakis and boots and a black t-shirt, that's my son. Did I go in that basement? No, I did not. They would not let me in there. So I just accepted it, but I know that I didn't have a son no more after that fatal Sunday. It was on a Sunday, early Sunday morning. So, and they said it was self-inflicted. A self-inflicted bullet. He did it himself. So the gun was right in his temple. And he playing it, I guess he got that bullet. So I don't know. I don't know. So.
Roz, what will you always remember about your son Coco?
He was fun, he was witty, and he loved his mother, and he just wanted his mother sober. You know, he was a good-hearted young man, you know, very handsome, and he loved me. He loved his mother. I will always remember that. He's my angel now. Because he's still with me. But he's not with me in the flesh, but he's with me.
If Coco was sitting here next to you right now, what would you say to him?
Well, it's just a day at a time. You know, life goes on, you know. I'm here, he was here, I'm just doing what I couldn't do, you know, but it took what it took. But here I sit, 23 years without a drink or a drug. So your prayer was finally answered. And so from this day forward, it's just being a living amends. Living a day at a time without drinking or drugging.
Rosalyn, you tell us that forgiveness for others has set you free. Do you forgive yourself for the life you couldn't provide Coco?
Oh, God. Do I forgive me? Yes, Sheila, I forgive me now. I do forgive me now. Because otherwise I can't forgive others. And I know I have a right to life because I cannot be harmful to myself. And, you know, I just can't do it because that's not the way it's not the way the game is played. You know, I have to. Because I think I did a horrendous thing about not being a responsible parent, you know. But at the same time, I was alcoholic, you know, an addict. So I forgive me. I forgive me for not being able to be sober while my son was alive. Yes, I do forgive me.
You have a prayer at the beginning of this chapter. Will you say it for us, Rosalyn?
Yes, I will tell you this prayer because this was between God and myself, and this was for Coco. And it just says that, "Dear God, please help me to get through and to keep my mind focused on the memory of your gift that you gave me." Coco DePaul Macy, born September the 10th, 1978, Denver, Colorado. He weighed 6 pounds and 8 ounces, and he died November the 16th, 1996.
Roz, how did this prayer come to you?
This prayer came to me as I sat thinking about my baby, and I just sat in front of a woman, in front of a recorder, and it's just, you know, it was just the reality back in 2004 when I was just, had it just so fresh in my mind because everything that was going on in 2004 was, you know, from 96 to then, you know, 8 years, so it was still fresh. So it was, I'm learning forgiveness and just thinking about my baby. Just thinking about my son, my only son, my only live son. Yes.
Rosalyn, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate you. Very grateful for you sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Rest in peace, Coco.
Yes, yes.